Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Minions of the Zoo. I'm your host, Johnny Hellcat, and with me today are Minions Sanguine
Good evening, all.
and the Hey Camel.
Hello.
And before the stream, we were just talking about abusing kids and animals. With
Fantastic.
I'm for the former, but not the latter.
with tools.
Just so everyone's clear.
For abusing kids, not abusing animals. Johnny is taking the counterpoint of if it's something that is not really abuse when it comes to an animal, but would be when it comes to children, he's perfectly fine with it.
It's a gray area.
Yeah. And I find myself kind of going, yeah, it needs to be a case-by-case basis what the fuck we're talking about and whether or not it's actually abuse.
I've never seen anyone gather kids with a leaf blower, though. So, I mean,
I have seen a sheepdog herd a bunch of kids, though.
actually, it's funny because the dog that we adopted for my stepson, he's a shepherd dog,
Nice.
and so when he gets a wild hair up his ass, he'll actually start hurting the rest of the animals,
Very nice.
and it drives everyone nuts, and it makes us laugh.
Mm-hmm.
So did you guys?
Sheepdog supposed to do other than herd random things?
You guys hear about the bodega bro?
Yeah, that was really stupid.
I have not.
On whose part, Johnny? Just before we break it down for Sanguine.
Well, I don't want to spoil it, so you go ahead, and then I will finish my answer.
So this young man from I think Michigan got a job working for a company in New York City,
Okay.
and he packs up, moves across the country to the Big Apple. And I guess when he first gets there, he's trying to find a grocery store to buy groceries.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on TikTok, wasn't it, that he was doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, it's TikTok. But he's going around and he's finding all these different places. I don't remember what borough he was even in. The Bronx, I think.
I'm not sure.
But he's going around. He's finding all the bodegas, and he's getting pissed about not being able to find like fresh fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, I guess from scrolling through, if you're in New York City and you want to go grocery shopping, you go to a supermarket. You don't type in grocery store.
Yep.
So, yeah, this guy, not from there, doesn't know any better, on Twitter bitching about the bodegas and the lack of food choices and whatnot in them.
Mm-hmm.
People on Twitter got pissy, and they got him fired from this job.
Oh.
Apparently, it was Outreach IO was where he was going to be working. I don't know what they do, but
I cannot help there because this is the first time hearing of an outreach IO.
yeah. But somebody posted something, I guess, from their website. Working at Outreach means being a part of a family where we got your back, no matter what, helping you accomplish ever greater feats and celebrating with you. We take ownership. Each of us is responsible for our collective successes, and we expect you to represent your authentic self. We go out of our way to find different points of view that challenge our own because we find strength in diversity and inclusion. Now, would you like to guess this young man's ethnicity or phenotype?
Hispanic origin?
So close. I mean, I suppose he could be. He could be one of those white Hispanics. I don't remember what his surname was. But yeah, apparently, Outreach didn't read their own memo statement about their diversity and inclusion because they booted this dude with the quickness.
Oh yeah, of course I would, because he, not knowing about New York, somehow made them look bad.
Oh, I mean, let's be honest. It's New York.
Yeah, it was stupid on all fronts. Why the fuck would you move to New York and then...
And like this dude wasn't making like six figures or something like that either. This was a young dude, probably entry level gig. I think they were saying like 40 grand, maybe 50.
Oh yeah, that's retarded that he went to New York.
Yeah.
The only way that you should go to New York is if it's like, yeah, you're an investment banker and your particular one is based out of New York. Okay, yeah, have at it.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna have to be, high 6 to 7 figures, like investment banking, finance, something like that. Where they your office has your own personal cocaine closet where you can do lines off of a stripper's ass.
Mm-hmm.
There's other than that, no, I'm not moving to fucking New York City. No.
Yeah. And it sucks for the guy who had that happen because now he's stuck in New York without fucking thing to his name.
Yeah, cocaine suite. Thank you, assassin. Yeah, not just a closet, but a whole suite.
Okay, so apparently Outreach, let's see here, unlock faster sales cycles and more predictable revenue with the Outreach sales execution platform.
Why the fuck would you need to be in New York for that? That sounds like work from home shit to me.
Yeah.
Dude could have been pulling in $50K working in his fucking slippers. Back in the backwoods of Michigan.
Yeah, that's definitely the sort of shit that you should be able to telework for.
And I don't know if this guy had anything linked, to his work details or anything like that either. Like some internet sleuths probably just, found his LinkedIn profile or something. But yeah, just a wild story. And all because, the dude didn't understand that, bodegas. Like, I don't understand bodegas either. You know what my experience with bodegas is? Half-baked. Like, that's where you go to buy shitty weed. That's what Dave Chappelle taught me.
Nice. Yeah, bodegas, you can buy some grocery items, like you can find chips, milk. Think like a gas station, only better.
Yeah, like he was complaining about only like being able to pick up like cereal and ramen noodles and stuff.
Yep. But
like,
they would typically have a bit more than just that, but it's not much more than just that.
Like I would if I was in that kid's shoes, I would have done some scouting around first before I,
Mm-hmm.
But he's young and dumb. I blame the company for being a bunch of spineless shitheads.
I think everyone did something stupid in that. His, it was being young and dumb and wanting to move to the big city and have his "this is how I became wealthy" story, which that's where you first fucked up.
And Gunsky's asking, what the hell is a bodega? Well, based off of what I know, a bodega is where you commit degrading acts to buy bottom-tier weed and maybe pet a cat that's sitting on the chip rack. That's what I know of bodegas from, my exposure to social media and television.
Bodegas are little corner shops. They're little corner shops that are typically in Hispanic neighborhoods. They'll have a few things grocery-wise, like I said, but it, again, think kind of like a good gas station and how it'll have, like, you can get a bottle of milk. Not, like, a fuck ton, but you can get a bottle of milk, you can get sodas, you can get chips, cereal, crackers, shit like that. So think that with a few more items tacked in. And that's kind of the offerings of bodega.
Yeah, I'd say it's worse.
But yeah, that's the story of Bodega Bro. And apparently, there's a lot of this stuff kind of going on in New York. Remember, was that dude West Elm Caleb or whatever? Wasn't that also New York?
I never heard about that.
So, not 100%.
Oh, you never heard about that dude? He was on, was it like Tinder or one of those other dating apps?
Mm-hmm.
Some chick on TikTok was complaining about him. Apparently, like, she went on a date with him, and then she found out like he was, using the dating app to date other people as well. And apparently, a bunch of chicks came forward talking about how, I guess they, one date or, a couple of dates with this guy, and that they all felt like cheated on. It's like, bitch, it's Tinder. What did you think was going to happen?
Also, I guarantee that if you look into their Tinder app history, they have a score or more that they're chatting with and that they're going out with.
I mean, maybe, but like the one chick that like went viral for her video about it, I don't know how many she's got in her rotation, but I can't imagine it's that many because she got a 5-head like Megamind.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't, exactly Assassin, dating multiple people on Tinder? No. This isn't like the 1950s where you were going steady with that one chick that gave you a hand job behind the bleachers after your JV football game. Taking her to the sock hop every Friday night.
That's when you decide to go steady.
She touched my penis. I guess we're going steady now.
We're practically married, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's just a what the fuck. Just like you guys, of course, remember the Tinder swindler, right?
Well, before you get onto the Tinder swindler, like the West Elm Caleb story was so egregious. Like even Taylor Lorenz was like, "Guys, calm down."
It's fucking Tinder.
Yeah, but I mean, like they went so far. Even Taylor Lorenz was like, "Okay, pump your brakes." And now I've heard of the Tinder swindler, but like I've not really paid any attention. Is this one person, or is this like, is it a TV show? What's going? I see it occasionally on Twitter, people talking about it, but
the Tinder swindler was one dude who was on Tinder, and
I thought he was on Hinge. My bad.
He went on multiple. I know that it started out on Tinder. No, I'm serious.
It was Bumble,
the dude,
Sanguine. It was Bumble. It was most definitely Bumble. I swear it was.
I'm not even joking. That is a legitimate thing because he has done it on multiple dating.
Well, yeah, you got to diversify your portfolio, man. Even con men know this.
So, what he did was he would hit on women. Surprise, surprise, going on one of those things, hitting on women. And he would portray himself as if he was the heir to a diamond fortune.
Smoother than a Nigerian prince. I'm liking this already.
Without actually ever saying flat out, or often not saying. There were a few times that he flat out said that he was the heir of this one family, which if you look up the family online, you find out, there's no heir. There's the dude who's in charge of it. He has no male children.
So you're telling me that a bunch of, I'm assuming this is like middle-aged women. Didn't do a little
20 to 30 something.
Okay, 20 to 30 something women. Didn't do any Facebook sleuthing, not even a 5-second Google search. They just
nothing.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Hook, line, and sinker believed this guy. And when it came out that, he was complete bullshit, they all started coming out of the woodwork saying, I was scammed by this guy. And it was ridiculous because he would have like 6 of them on the hook at a time, and he would use money that he had gotten from one of the other ones to splash out on one of the new ones before then selling them this story of, look, a bunch of my accounts have had this happen. They've been frozen due to people coming after me. I need to be on the lam. Can you loan me some money?
It's a pyramid. It's a Ponzi scheme wrapped in a Nigerian prince. Even better.
Yeah. It is the Nigerian prince mixed with a Ponzi scheme. And
it's the Nigerian Ponzi.
A shit ton of women fell for it. And then they started coming forward and saying, yeah, he betrayed me. It was ridiculous. I thought that I was going after the heir of a diamond fortune.
I thought I was going to be fucking the next Elon Musk.
Yeah, turns out this guy who I thought I was making a good investment, and that's the thing. They were all referring to this dude as an investment. And then they were pissed off that they had been scammed on Tinder by a guy who claimed to be someone that doesn't exist.
They even made a show about it.
Yep.
Oh, so it was a TV show. Okay.
I'm going to mute up. I'm going to quickly beat some whipped cream.
Wow, 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 wow.
You do you, man.
I mean, whatever, you know. Is that what the kids are calling it these days? I'm not hip to the lingo anymore.
All right. So, do we want to start with the serious stuff, or do we want to start with the fun stuff? Do we want to close with the funny? Well, not really funny, but
I mean, Sanguine's already whipping cream, so I mean, how much funnier could this get?
Let's do a couple of the serious ones, and then we'll
okay.
We'll dip back into the.
I just imagine Sanguine being muted right now. He's just like, cream frige. I need my cream frige.
I have cream fresh in my refrigerator right now. I could pull.
You're not pronouncing it right, Sanguine. It's cream frige.
I'm going to pronounce it cream fresh, and I'm not going to be gay and French about it.
I was just thinking South Park.
All right, so I think this is the one that brings up McGirt. So in a 5-4 court ruling, court dramatically expands the power of states to prosecute crimes on reservations.
Yeah, I think this was authored by Kavanaugh, if I'm not mistaken. This opinion.
Let's see. On the second to last day of the 21-22 term, the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 that Oklahoma and other states possesses concurrent jurisdiction with the federal government over crimes committed by non-Indians against Indians in Indian country, wiping away centuries of tradition and practice.
I'm sorry. No, it did not. I mean, as long as Oklahoma's been a state, it's pretty well been, the state policing, not the tribes. None of this bullshit that literally just started in the past year, 2 years. How long has it been since the McGirt? 2 years now. 2020,
maybe a year, like 2020.
Yeah.
So it seems like just yesterday.
Well, internet time, it was just yesterday.
Let's see here. No, Travis got it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Victor Manuel Castro Huerta, a non-Indian person. Could you tell? Was convicted.
I mean,
well, yeah.
I could have assumed he was Navajo for the sake of shit. Hey, man, I knew a Choctaw with the last name Gomez. All right, so
yeah, you got a point there. Let's see. A non-Indian person was convicted by the state of Oklahoma for criminal child neglect of a citizen of an eastern band of Cherokee Indians with the reservation boundaries of the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma. That conviction came before the court's 2020 decision McGirt v. Oklahoma, which ruled that the
Muskogee.
Thank you. I'm trying to get into that. I'm trying to
Just
Muskogee.
listen to oh shit, was it
The Okie from
Travis?
Muskogee.
There you go. I was trying to think of the singer's name. I forget. Merle Haggard. I want to say it was Merle. Yeah, just listen to a little Okie from Muskogee. You'll get it eventually.
Well, and it's funny because
go back. When did they say that decision was?
It was before the McGirt decision came down. He got convicted before McGirt.
Yeah, but they said that the McGirt was
2020.
2020. So remember, this is centuries. As we all know, we currently live in at least 22.
No, 20.
In order for
22.
this to be... No, because if it happened, if this decision that was... Or
That
the
damn
case,
Large Hadron Collider throwing us through
if the
alternate
case
dimensions again.
was
Forgot to reset my clock.
decided by the state previous to the decision that was just overturned, and that was the state trying the person that had committed a crime on Resland, then that means that since this idea has been around for centuries, that no, if it happens on reservation land, then it will be handled by the natives. Well, this just goes against that because apparently it was 2020. Not 1920, not 2020. The only way that this would have been centuries of tradition and practice is if somehow we're currently in 2222.
Like I said, man, that Large Hadron Collider throwing those particles together has thrown us forward in time. We forgot to set our clocks. You know?
And we never even knew.
Exactly. I mean, it explains a lot, man. Like, I've been feeling like I've been falling apart. I'm over 200 fucking years old now. That's why.
Yeah.
These joints, popping and snapping. That's to be expected at my elderly age now.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 days ago, like Assassin said.
I think we finally got to a point where real time has caught up with the internet time, and everything's moving way too fucking fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like the fact that tribal sovereignty is being determined by a pederast and a child abuser. Well, I mean, I repeat myself. But
and
still.
there was actually a story out of Montana where there was someone who was abducted, near drowned in alcohol, raped, and kidnapped. And they found them in Indian Territory in Washington. And the reservation's like, we can't do shit about this. Like, you got to come get this guy. And the feds are like, no, we're not going to get him.
Yeah.
And so he only got time served because they couldn't hold him.
Yeah, before this decision that just came down, like I said, the Tulsa metro area, a large part of that would be on the Cherokee reservation land. So like a lot of crimes in Tulsa would have had to been policed by the federal government or the tribal police. And it's like that's just that's not feasible. So this is actually, kind of rectifying some of that shit that they didn't think to clear up in the first case. But like I saw Steven Crowder talking about it when the decision came down a couple days ago, and I thought about doing a stream, But it was like, yeah, just the one item. I can't really talk that long about it. And it really would have just been to bitch about Crowder, because it's like he was just talking completely out of his ass about it.
And again, centuries of tradition and practice. 2020.
Yeah, I would imagine it's not, because Travis saying OKC is most definitely not affected, because all of the tribes were pretty much shoved in the eastern part of the state. Yeah, the flatlands. That's right. Uh, so I don't think any of the well, I mean, maybe like the Ponca or Kiowa tribe and stuff. That's still northeast part of the part of the state. You're gonna read any more of this from Indians with a Z, or
No, I got sidetracked with the search. Let's see here.
You were at the second paragraph.
I was just jumping over Muskogee. So you had to hold for that one. Let's see. As a result, McGirt, the reservations, and other tribes similarly situated to the Muskogee are also now considered extant, including the Cherokee Nation. All land within extant Indian reservation is considered Indian country. McGirt made clear that much of eastern Oklahoma was Indian country, and as a result, the state and local authorities have no jurisdiction to prosecute Indian defendants accused of crimes on that land. Only federal government and tribes themselves can prosecute those defendants. That outcome has its roots in the Trade and Intercourse Act. Well, it's a good thing my head wasn't the only place that went there.
No, I'm a degenerate too.
Which was passed by first Congress in 1790, and federalized virtually all aspects of Indian affairs. Probably something that, I don't know, could have used a revamp.
Yeah. Well, like I said the other day, talking to Dax, to this day, if you are half-blood or more, doesn't matter what tribe, as long as it's federally recognized, you have to get permission from the government, the federal government, to sell property or to transfer property. Not even sell it. Like, if my grandfather wanted to give my mother a parcel of land, he would have had to have gotten the Bureau of Indian Affairs to sign off on it first. How fucking infantilizing is that?
Let's see. Ever since.
Would you like me to read it, Johnny?
If you want to, by all means.
Okay. Well, you don't have it up on the StreamYard, so I'm going based off the stream.
And that's...
Well, yeah, let me throw it in the chat then.
The reason for that is because they earmarked that land into perpetuity for natives. So, in order to have it earmarked in perpetuity, it isn't actually owned by natives. It's owned by the federal government.
Yeah.
And leased to natives. So yeah, if you're leasing land, you aren't allowed to just sell that land to someone else.
Okay, well.
Because you're leasing it.
Ever since then, Indian country criminal jurisdiction has been considered exclusively federal and tribal. The court's 1832 decision in Worcester v. Georgia confirmed that the state law had no force in Indian country absent congressional authorization. However, the court chipped away at that general rule in the United States v. McBratney and Draper v. United States, 1881 and 1896, respectively, allowing state prosecutions of non-Indians who committed crimes against non-Indians in Indian country, even in the absence of congressional authorization. So, non-Indian on non-Indian crime, they could still go ahead and get. Which, again, that goes back to the whole centuries, Sanguine. Like, that actually is centuries at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, the court reversed the presumption against state jurisdiction, holding that unless Congress acts to preempt state jurisdiction, states can prosecute non-Indians for all crimes committed in Indian country. Writing for the court, Justice Brett Kavanaugh listed several of the court's precedents that conflicted with the Worcester, concluding that the Worcester-era understanding of Indian country as separate from the state was abandoned later in the 1800s, presumably meaning that McBratney and Draper decisions. Once the majority concluded that state jurisdictions was presumptive, it then rejected Castro Huerta's related claim that the General Crimes Act preempted state law. Enacted in its current form during the codification of the United States Code in 1948, the GCA provides that the general laws of the United States as to the punishment of offenses committed within the sole and exclusive jurisdiction of the United States shall extend to the Indian country. The court concluded that by 1948, the territorial separation between Indian tribes and states was no longer. Therefore, the GCA cannot mean that Indian country is a federal enclave, pardon me, where federal jurisdiction is exclusive. The court reached a similar conclusion on the preemptive impact of Public Law 280, enacted in 1953, which authorized certain states to assert criminal jurisdiction over Indian country, but not Oklahoma. The majority then analyzed the state's jurisdiction under the federal Indian law preemption analysis under White Mountain Apache Tribe v. Bracker, which held that state jurisdiction in Indian country is preempted when it interferes with tribal self-government. The court found no tribal interest in preventing state criminal jurisdiction in this situation, focusing instead on the state's interest in public safety within its territory. And since federal prosecutions are not barred by a concurrent state jurisdiction, the court downplayed the federal interest as well. Important to the majority was the aftermath of the McGirt decision, which the court stated allowed some defendants to negotiate lenient plea deals with the federal government and allowed some to go free. In dissent, Justice Neil Gorsuch praised the court's decision in Worcester, noting that it was a deeply unpopular decision at the time, but it showed that the rule of law meant something. Criticizing the majority for discarding the Worcester presumption in the absence of congressional authorization, he concluded, "Where this court once stood firm, today it wilts," comparing Oklahoma in the 2020s to Georgia in the 1930s, both of which asserted criminal jurisdiction in lawless disregard of tribal sovereignty. Gorsuch described a much different history than the majority. Justice Stephen Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan joined Gorsuch's dissent. See, I didn't know what the breakdown was of the majority versus minority. I didn't. So you got three liberals and one conservative dissenting.
Mm-hmm.
While the majority described a gradual assumption of state authority in Indian country, aided by historical trends and ratified by a series of Supreme Court precedents, the dissent focused on Congress, which never explicitly authorized state jurisdiction over these types of defendants. Both majority and dissent accused the other of overstepping the role of the judiciary, but the dissent's focus gave primacy to the role of Congress over the majority's reliance on historical changes acknowledged and ratified by the judiciary. So it seems like a lot of these decisions they've handed down here lately really come down to, hey, Congress, do your fucking job. Going forward, the majority asserted that this decision is... Oh, sorry.
Just to cut in real quick, it is absolutely that, and the thing is that Congress doesn't want to do their job, because if they do, like if the Democrats, while they've had their control of both parts of Congress and the executive, so two entire branches of the federal government, or two entire houses of the federal government, they don't want to actually do anything that would put in danger their ability to use Roe v. Wade or shit like that. See, the Republicans are going to try to get rid of it. They don't want to have to deal with that, so they just went, the courts decided it. We don't need to actually do anything. We can just fearmonger and fearmonger and fearmonger. And then eventually, the fearmongering became somewhat of a reality when, yeah, they didn't do anything. It was a bad precedent to start because The courts didn't really have the power to do what they did. And then the Republicans got enough, or the conservatives got enough justices that went, yeah, this was an overreach. And now they're acting surprised, like, oh my god, where could this ever happen from? Well, because you didn't fucking make it a law, you just went, the Supreme Court did it, it's done.
Well, and that made me think, with this whole Roe v. Wade thing, why aren't people just going to their local lawmakers and just being like, okay, let's protest to make this happen, instead of bitching and moaning that there's one more of you than there is of me.
Well, there's a couple of paragraphs left here. I'll go ahead and just run through them real fast. Going forward, the majority asserted that this decision is broadly applicable throughout the United States, seemingly authorizing any state to assert criminal jurisdiction over crimes committed by non-Indians against Indians, absent a contrary act of Congress applicable to a given tribe or reservation. The overall impact will depend on whether state prosecutors decide to start charging more crimes, but the potential for Castro Huerta to disrupt Indian country criminal justice is massive. In its conclusion, the dissent pointed out that Congress could easily amend Public Law 280 to correct this outcome, invoking Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's famed dissent in Ledbetter v. Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company from 2007 that led to a quick reversal of that decision by Congress in 2008. Congressional lawmaking in the Indian country criminal jurisdiction space has been robust in recent decades, going so far as to authorize tribes to prosecute non-Indians for intimate partner violence and child abuse. So the dissents in treaty for a congressional fix could be effective. Could be, being the key words there. But yeah, so they could actually get off their asses and do some legislating and fix this.
Well, to their mind, fix it.
Now, what was Ledbetter versus Goodyear?
I don't know. I haven't clicked any of those links.
That's a wage
in the
wage discrimination.
Yeah.
I thought that sounded familiar.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was against Goodyear, but the name Ledbetter did sound familiar. Oh, I know why. They were trying to get that. What was that? Equal pay? They named an Equal Pay Act after that chick.
The Ledbetter Act?
Yes. So whenever they want to talk about how women make 77 cents on the dollar to a man, you can just go, yeah, that's illegal. Here's the law. It's actually named after a woman. We've been here, done this.
No,
Catch up.
And it's funny because I actually mentioned that. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of against the law to do that. Well, it's hard to prove. I'm like, so...
Have you ever met a forensic accountant?
So you can't?
Also, yeah, that's kind of the point of most things. You have to prove it. It's difficult. If it was something that was ridiculously easy to prove, then first off, it should be goddamn obvious when it's happening and won't be a problem at all to begin with. But also, yeah, a lot of things are really hard to prove. That doesn't mean that we just get to change the fucking way that it's done. It is really hard, for instance, to prove that someone was murdered without a body. It's been done several times. So, it's hard to prove. Yeah, no shit. Most crimes are hard to prove.
I mean, I don't know if I would say most crimes are hard to prove. There are a lot of dumb criminals out there, but yeah.
I'd say
the point is the onus is on the prosecution to prove that it happened. It's not, But yeah, I was actually I was I was glad to hear about that decision, the 5-4, because here in Oklahoma, like the governor is not all that friendly with the tribes. He's been trying to renegotiate a gaming compact with them for a couple years now, and the tribes were like, "Yeah." I think he was trying to say the gaming compact expired, and the tribes were like, "No, it didn't." I think he wanted another percentage point or two off the top from the tribes, and they're like, "No, thank you.
Sounds about right.
We're just gonna keep on giving you what we've been giving you, and you don't like it, tough titty." But I'd be willing. This is probably why another good reason why I'm not in tribal politics or anything. I'd be willing to give them that extra percentage point, or even two, if they gave us sports book making.
Yeah.
Because like our casinos, I mean, we used to do OTB, off track betting, and then that went away, and so now it's really only like slots and blackjack, and that's I mean, there's plenty of zombies willing to pull a lever or push a button for the slot machines, but there's not a lot of table games. At least not in my area. Maybe if I went down to Durant, I think they've got like a full casino and hotel. Ship a lot of Chinese people in there to gamble.
There's a pretty big casino up near Box Elder. I didn't go into it because I don't think it was open by the time I drove past it. Being it was, 9 o'clock in the morning.
but yeah, I mean, if we could get sports books, a ton of people go to the casino every month to watch UFC fights. I bet you there'd be even more if they could put some action on it. Just throw down a $20 on, John Jones' next fight. Get a slip, sit down, eat some nachos, some wings, whatever. Watch the fights, or NBA, NFL, MLB, fucking NASCAR. There's a ton of shit they could be betting on. That could be way more revenue for the tribes. But I don't. Travis says Riverwind has some dice games now.
Clackety clack.
You gotta throw them bones, man. Kill to hit a casino, play some blackjack. Only if they do not include OU or OSU. I don't know, man. I could have cleaned up on some of them games, Travis. There's still a dude from high school owes me $100 for a Bedlam game. Just imagine what that vig would look like, man. That's gonna be some money right there.
It might be a bit late to call in that debt, just to let you know.
Oh no, I mean, the only reason why I remember it is because it was before I switched sides. I used to see myself going to OU and whatnot, and then I actually went up there to visit the campus. It's like, you guys are a bunch of douchebags. Went and visited OSU's campus, and it was chill, and I was like, this suits me down to the ground. Yeah, I like Stillwater better.
Nice.
Too easy to rig. I mean, yeah. But I mean, if they got sports books, people would want to bet on OU and OSU. Same as anything else.
Yeah, I think both those links I put in there are both the same thing, pretty much. The only one I really was going for was the Republican governor.
But yeah, I'm still just overturning centuries of tradition. When was this tradition put in place? 2 years ago? Centuries.
Well, my thing is like, I didn't before McGirt came down. I didn't even know that our tribe had a prosecutor. You know,
Mhm.
so you know,
Well, and that's the thing. Most tribes do. Like they
yeah.
have the whole court system, but it can only go so far. Depending on the crime.
And it's not like they were getting a ton of cases either. And then all of a sudden the floodgates opened 2 years ago. It's like, what the fuck are we supposed to do with this?
And I don't get why people are acting like, oh, this is ridiculous that the federal government will be able to prosecute crimes that non-natives commit on res land against non-natives. It would make more sense if they were freaking out that, oh, this would open the door to them prosecuting natives or them prosecuting people rather than allowing the tribes to prosecute people that committed crimes against natives. That I'd at least be able to go, okay, that makes some sense why people are making it to do about it. But
all I can say is
the fuck?
if we're gonna go back to calling it Indian country and all this and that, bring back fucking Judge Parker and let's do this shit right. Sanguine's laughing. He knows about Judge Parker. Johnny's muted right now, so he's probably doing something else. What about you, chat? I'm sure Travis probably heard of Judge Parker before being an Okie. But I'm wondering if anybody else knows the story of Judge Isaac Parker.
Why don't you enlighten everyone?
Well, Judge Parker was a federal judge out of Fort Smith back in the time when Indian country actually meant Indian country.
Mm-hmm.
And he was known as the hanging judge. Because guess what? If you're found guilty in Judge Parker's court, chances were you were going to hang.
Mm-hmm.
So, I say if we're gonna bring back Indian country, let's bring back Judge Parker too. Do it right.
A long drop with a short rope.
I always heard it as being a short drop with a quick stop.
That's another way. Yeah, there's the reason why I've heard the long drop, short rope is there's short drop short drop hangings and long drop hangings.
Yeah,
And-
your math has got to be right. Otherwise, you're gonna pop some dude's head off like a cork.
Oh yeah, which happened. I've told you that story, right?
If you haven't, I've heard it elsewhere. But go ahead and enlighten the chat.
So there was this was
And myself.
during the Old West. There was I want to say bank robber at the time that ended up getting clapped and then was thrown in jail. He was sentenced to death by hanging. So they did all the calculations the moment that they arrested him, stuck him in jail. Well, there were a couple problems with the calculations that they did. Namely that, first off, when they arrested him, he still had both his arms. About a week after they did the calculations, one of his arms got infected from being shot while they were trying to take him in, and his arm was amputated. So now he's lopsided. Then there was also, it took about 3 months for the hanging to actually happen, and this man gorged himself. So he went from a very light man, like 150, 160 pounds, something like that.
I was gonna say if we're talking like 1800s, 150, 160 is still pretty hefty for that time.
True. So cut that back even a little bit more. But he ended up, when they went to hang him, being north of 200.
Oh, so he was a nice big fat ass.
He just packed on everything.
And see, I thought the Old West was like, you know, hardcore. Like, you figure that dude would be getting like bread and water for 3 months until they hung him.
Oh no, this dude was able to eat, became obese, so they went to hang him. Now he's lopsided and much, much heavier than he was when they did the calculation. So they take him up onto the gallows, get him seated nicely with the rope around his neck, the knot right behind the ear like it's supposed to, pull the handle, the floor drops out from underneath him. He drops, his body hits the ground, his head goes spinning off, blood just spraying the crowd. They ripped his fucking head off in the execution because it was too much weight for a rope that didn't have enough slack on too long of a drop. So just popped his head off.
Yeah, that would do
and
it.
Everyone was just watching it like, what the fuck?
I got a souvenir.
Let me see if I can find the dude's name that it was.
Well, since this is a quick one, you want to deck this one out here, Camel?
Camel?
Since you're going... Oh, he's muted. He'll be right back. Okay, I'll deck it out then. Since he's going to take off.
Okay, so let me quickly double check. I think I just found... Yep, this is the guy. Black Jack Ketchum.
I thought Sanguine would have went longer so I could have...
Oh, I just had to quickly look up the guy's name. So it was Black Jack Ketchum was the man who I was trying to remember the name of. And let's see, does it give his original weight and then his end weight? I know his end weight was 200 pounds. And... Oh, so there were a couple other things that happened with this. So not only did they forget to calculate in that he was missing an arm, then calculate in the fact that he ate himself to being a fat ass, they have to pre-stretch a rope before they use it for a hanging. And when they were pre-stretching the rope and then testing to make sure that it held, they forgot to undo it afterwards. They forgot to go back, take the weight off, so the entire fucking night before, it's just stretching the rope so that it's now rigid as fucking garrote wire.
We made it, gents. We've got sex bots in the chat.
Nice.
Hooray.
Thanks for that, Keeve.
Yeah, and they came fast, too. That was...
Yep.
That's what she said.
Well,
but yeah,
they did have more cheap sex.
So due to him becoming a fat ass while in prison, due to him losing an arm, and due to them just completely stretching the rope rather than slightly stretching it like they were supposed to, he was functionally hung with piano wire on far too long of a drop while being far too heavy.
You know, I just want to say one thing real fast about the bot. We have more cheap sex than Tinder. Tinder's free. How can you have cheaper? Are you paying me? Because, I mean, if you're paying me at that point, I don't know if I want to have sex with people you're offering. That's just, ugh.
We will pay you to have sex with these people.
No uggos, thank you. So you want me to read the governor's statement? From Governor Kevin Stitt, Republican of Oklahoma. I'm surprised more people haven't made fun of his name sounding like tit, but okay. Today's ruling is a clear victory for all 4 million Oklahomans, the state of Oklahoma, and the rule of law. I am heartened that the Supreme Court ruled in our favor, allowing Oklahoma to prosecute non-natives who violate the law and protect native victims. Since the court's 2020 McGirt decision, federal prosecutors have declined thousands of cases like Castro Huerta a non-native who monstrously abused his 5-year-old native stepdaughter. Justice has been delayed and denied to thousands of native victims in our state for no reason other than their race. Now Oklahoma law enforcement can help uphold and enforce the law equally as we have done for over a century. This is a pivotal moment. For 2 years, as a fourth-generation Oklahoman, member of the Cherokees, and governor of the state of Oklahoma, I have been fighting for equal protection under the law for all citizens. Today, our efforts proved worthwhile, and the court upheld the Indian country as a part of the state, not separate from it. I look forward to working with leaders across the state to join our efforts in combating the criminal justice crisis in Oklahoma following McGirt. Yeah, because like I said, after that decision, it was really just a bunch of questions, like didn't know how to go about prosecuting these crimes, didn't know who was in charge, and like he says in his statement, thousands of cases were declined by federal prosecutors.
Yep.
And it's not necessarily because they just didn't care, small potatoes, big whoop. It's they didn't have the infrastructure, even at the federal level, to deal with all of these cases. The backlog of cases that were overturned because of that decision. It was chaos there for a while. Stop jerking, fine girl, and fuck. No, thank you. Don't tell me what to do. You're not my mom.
My friend.
What
My
he
friend.
likes to do? What if he likes to find girl, fuck, and then jerk it? What if that's his kink?
Oh,
You don't know this, man.
I prefer the gone in 60 seconds method. You know, just sit on your hand until it goes numb.
The stranger.
Exactly.
So, are there more stories that you have to bring
I
up?
was just gonna see if Johnny was gonna let that just sit for a while.
I am gonna let it sit
See how long that uncomfortable silence could have went. This is why I'm a terrible co-host. I'll just let that go. Just all right.
No, I think that's pretty much it. Like all the stories, pretty much are just based around the reversal.
Yeah, for the first time in forever, we haven't heard shit about the Navajo or the Lakota on Indians with a Z.
Well, unless you want to talk about COVID, but
No, I don't
think we want to go there. So, and this one goes to the title of the stream. What do you think I'm going to be showing?
It's a buffalo. It's a buffalo hit and run, isn't it?
It is. Bison goring man at Yellowstone caught on camera. I'm going to talk about the story first before we actually show it. But a 34-year-old man from Colorado is recovering after he was gored by a bison Monday at Yellowstone National Park. Because why?
He went up to pet it, didn't he?
According to park officials, he was walking on a boardwalk with his family near Old Faithful Geyser. The group reportedly did not leave the area when the bison charged at them. The bull bison continued to charge and gored the man, causing injury to his arm. He was transported by ambulance to the hospital. Park officials say the matter is under investigation, but language in the news release suggests the man was too close to the bison. No shit.
Now,
They remind visitors to stay more than 25 yards away from wildlife. This is the second reported goring at this park this year.
Now, I tend to agree with Terry about the don't go outside, it's not worth it philosophy of life. But suppose I do go outside on that rare occasion and I see a buffalo, I see a bear, I even see fucking Bambi. I'm getting the fuck away. They don't have to be 25 yards away. They just be, big enough for me to see them. I'm going back inside. I'm getting the fuck out of the area. Because I don't want to end up like this dumb motherfucker. That's Good enough, Johnny. Good
Yeah.
enough.
All right, so let's see what we got.
Why is it always? Yeah, they saw it. Approach,
His kids,
decided to
his
fuck it up.
kids there.
You pick up the child and you run the fuck away.
Oh, it hooked him.
Oh.
Damn.
That's a broken arm. Gotta be. And this dude just saw that. He's like, I'm gonna spray some bear spray. I'm like,
And if it was a broken arm, it was only one of the bones because his arm wasn't floppy.
oh,
I think it hooked him.
yeah. I don't know. That looks pretty floppy to me, Sanguine. But yeah, watch him
It's
do it off to the
floppy
right.
when he falls, but then once he starts running off,
wait, Johnny, stop, wait. Finish playing that video one more time. Because that dude off to the right, he just sprays some bear spray and just walking all nonchalant. Like, nah, fuck that, dude. I don't care if it's a park ranger or not. Like, I would not be that cavalier.
but yeah,
Yeah.
the dude's arm is not completely floppy because you can see him pick something up with it.
And we know the good people of chat are smart enough to not get anywhere near a buffalo if they're at a national park or anything like that. But you guys may know people who aren't that smart, so you should share the stream out and get that to as many people as possible. We've given this PSA, I don't know how many times over the past, 5 years now, Johnny?
Yeah, I'd say.
Leave them buffalo alone.
Since the Lords of the Night days, I would be posting these videos.
So, yeah, more than 5 years at this point. Yeah. Solid half a decade of do not approach the buffalo. And Travis like, nope, I'm going to let him go so I can film it. Well, and if you do, send it to us so we can have a good laugh.
So that it too can become one of our stories on Johnny Hellcat.
Yes. There was
And
another
Assassin
video
says
from
it-
a while ago. Oh, go ahead.
Assassin says you run from any animal and you are a target. Yeah, but you just got to outrun the fat ass in the foreground. That's all. Have you not ever heard about that joke about outrunning the bear? And Assassin is same with Travis. You know, he's going to let Darwin do his work apparently. Well, I mean, if you do, like I said, get it on film, send it to us, let us have a chuckle.
It just keeps on happening. And it keeps on happening in the same way. At least this time it wasn't some bitch wanted to pet the cute animal.
Does nobody else remember the show When Animals Attack? I used to watch that shit in the 90s on Fox.
Yeah.
It was
I mean-
amazing.
It was amazing. And it also taught you a healthy respect for wildlife.
It was the damn nature you scary before damn nature you scary.
I mean, that's that's why I even threw in Bambi in there. It's like, I've seen plenty of deer like bow up on their back legs and just start knocking a motherfucker out with their front hoofs.
Oh yeah, they can kick a person to death.
I mean, like an old-timey boxer, man. It was just ridiculous the amount of jabs this deer was getting. So,
And
Travis had a little bit of lag there in chat. You beat him to it just barely.
yep.
But yeah, like I said, for a solid half decade at least, Johnny and I have been telling you, don't fuck with nature.
Yeah, no, it's...
See something big and impressive, go the other fucking way.
I mean, even the fucking crocodile hunter got. I mean, what are you gonna do? You know?
And he got by something that wasn't even that impressive.
Exactly. All those years he spent shoving his thumb up a crocodile's ass while he was just, out in the outback. It was a stingray. Finally did him in. Oh, that's not too soon, Travis.
Oh
What's
yeah,
next? We gotta say my Pearl Harbor jokes are too soon?
Let's see here. So I'm noticing that there was a video that we showed a while back, and it might either be because they have it on here wrong or they have it on the story wrong. But there was a woman who was almost gored.
Oh, the one that got launched?
No, like she was running away and then tripped and fell.
Oh.
And so she's just like, okay, time to brace for whatever, 500-pound fuck is coming my way.
That's being generous, saying only 500.
Yeah. But, yeah, instead it ran up to her and kind of stomped around a bit, but it didn't hit her.
That's lucky as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the video is saying it was from July 2020, not June 2020, not June 22. So they're reporting it as a 22, but the video is saying it's 20. So I don't know where to go with that one. But point remains valid.
Don't fuck with large animals.
Yeah. I mean, it can't be stressed enough. Like even domesticated animals, like a horse, that motherfucker will still kick the shit out of you if you're not careful.
And again, can kick you to death.
Yep. I mean, hell, a horse will bite you if you fuck around enough. And
that just reminds me of one of my favorite horse videos, just because of how fucked it is. The one where he eats a chick.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember a horse. I remember seeing a deer eating like a ground nesting bird, but I don't remember a horse doing it.
It's just a horse walking around, and there's these tiny little baby chicks running around its feet. And it dips its head down for a second, grabs one, pops its head up, and fucking popcorns it.
Well, it dips its head down, kind of nudges one a bit, just I think to see what the hell is going on. And then it's like, oh, snack. Oh, and then just throws its head back and takes it in.
Yeah.
I mean, that horse apparently knew about popcorn chicken, Sanguine.
Yeah. It was impressive. But it was also one of those, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's what I remember seeing, like with the deer eating like the ground nesting birds. Like, wait, they do that too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Don't feel so bad about killing Bambi's mother now. Fuck him.
Well, in all fairness, they're eating a ground nesting bird, which is kind of retarded.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have not done any of the hunting. Apparently, Johnny's gonna start up. It's really just because I don't feel like getting out that early in the morning, that cold of time of year. If I could go hunting in like flip flops and board shorts in the middle of summer, I'd be down.
And Travis Gardner tosses in, I've seen a pelican eat a pigeon. I saw a pelican eat a kitten. That looked fucking terrifying, how to die that way.
Yeah.
They don't bite it, they just kind of smother it in its neck. It was fucked.
All right, so let's get to the funny stuff, Johnny, before Sandwich keeps telling us stories about poor little animals getting...
Eating different animals?
That was the funny stuff. It's...
Oh. Well, shit.
What other animals shall I tell you guys? about seeing them get eaten by another animal.
I mean, I could bring up a couple of things I found on Twitter today. Like, do you guys know who Rex Chapman is?
Name sounds really familiar.
Well, Rex Chapman used to be a basketball player back in, like, I think the 90s. Back before they started importing white guys from Europe, you know, when we still had our homegrown stock here playing in the NBA. And I don't remember exactly how his story, you know, I think he went to like Kentucky, got drafted into the NBA, played for a few seasons, bounced out of the league. I think at one point he was like a drug addict, you know, stealing like laptops and shit from the Genius Bar and whatnot. But he's got a fairly decent following on the Twitters, and he was actually he was going to be yeah, he's got over 1 million followers on Twitter, and he was going to be a contributor on CNN Plus. Well, apparently Rex does not like Justice Clarence Thomas. And apparently Rex also isn't a big fan of interracial marriage.
Oh, really?
Because he's been tweeting about Clarence, and he's putting pictures up of you know, Justice Thomas and his wife Jenny, who's a white lady. And yeah, he's also pointing out that the Attorney General of Kentucky, who is a black man and married to a white woman, apparently he thinks that these two are both, you know, like puppets for Mitch McConnell. You know,
Oh yes, you know, Mitch McConnell, the arch conservative Mitch McConnell.
So yeah, it's just well, here, let me show you the meme that I saw that was funny. That made me start thinking about old Rexy boy here. There we are, and share.
Click over to see that screen, because I'm currently looking at the stream. Nice.
You've got to have a big set of brass clackers to be bitching about some dude's interracial marriage when you are literally a skinhead.
Yep.
Either that or a profound lack of self-awareness. One of the two.
It's one of those things that if you hear a racial slur used in modern politics, it is almost 100% of the time someone on the far left calling someone who is not on the far left but is a minority one of them. Because the shit that has been lobbed at Clarence Thomas in the past few weeks. Oh, good fucking God.
I mean, George Takei, a bunch of people online calling him Uncle Clarence and shit.
Yep.
It's like, dude.
Which, first off, fucked up. Second off, they're retarded. Do you know why they're retarded?
Pretend I don't.
I was gonna say,
So you guys know where Uncle Tom comes from, right?
Uncle Tom's Cabin, yeah.
Uncle Tom's Cabin. Do you guys know who the hero of Uncle Tom's Cabin was?
Uncle Tom.
I mean, I want to say Uncle Tom, but I never actually read Uncle Tom's Cabin.
It was Uncle Tom.
I haven't
Uncle
either,
Tom?
I've heard things.
Yeah, Uncle Tom in Uncle Tom's Cabin is the good guy. He's the one not ratting people out, not trying to return people. He's the one actually covering for people so that they can have a bit better of a life, get the fuck out, and all that good shit. You know, who is the villain? I'm trying to remember the exact name so I get it right.
Well, while you're trying to remember that, Travis Garner did send me a story from Fox 10 in Phoenix. Refrigerator recall. Reminder: Travis is an appliance repairman, so this is in his wheelhouse here. Ice makers could break into pieces, cause choking hazard. Electrolux is recalling roughly 370,000 refrigerators over potential choking hazards. According to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, the company has received 185 reports of pieces breaking in the ice makers, which can then fall into the ice bucket and into a glass. One of the people who complained reported gum lacerations. Ouch. The 13 models include the Frigidaire and Electrolux side-by-side top freezer and multi-door refrigerators. Consumers who own one of the recalled models are urged to stop using the refrigerator, empty the ice bucket, and contact Electrolux to schedule a technician. I see why Travis sent this in. He's trying to get some business referrals here. Well, good on you, sir. You hustled that dough. The company said about 367,500 recalled models were sold in the U.S. and an additional 7,180 were sold in Canada. They were sold at Lowe's, Home Depot, and appliance stores nationwide between April 2020 and March 2022. Prices range from $1,200 to $4,300. $4,300 for a refrigerator?
Oh, yeah, I'll show you.
Well, see, I still use ice trays. I don't even have an ice maker. That's a great way to avoid having your ice maker break and lacerate your gums. Just use ice trays, like everyone did in the 90s and before. Reject modernity, embrace tradition, and for the love of God, fill up your fucking ice trays when you're done, you lazy bastards. And Travis like, yep, they suck too. But yeah, so I mean, if you bought a refrigerator in between April 2020 and March of this year, double check and make sure that it's not one of the ones recalled, because you may end up like Bleeding Gums Murphy.
Okay, so I pulled right here, just on its own, the most expensive refrigerator that Lowe's can offer, going by since I used to work there, and the Electrolux that it's showing here is showing a $4,000 price. How much do you think this fridge is? I will give you a couple hints.
I'm gonna assume it's more than 4,300.
It is KitchenAid, so that right there will tell you it is expensive as hell, and it's a built-in, so theirs are kind of like customizable, so that also will jack your price up a bit.
I'm going to say KitchenAid, and so 10K.
I'm gonna go Price is Right rules, and I'm gonna say
10K plus
43. No, because 10K sounds like way too much for a refrigerator. I'm gonna say $4,301.
All right, let's let chat throw some numbers out there.
Assassin's reminding everyone of Nancy Pelosi's 27K refrigerator.
Yeah, but that's like for all her fancy ice cream. It's San Francisco. She's pretty well sauced and at least half retarded. So.
And I just looked up the character's name to make sure that I was remembering it right, because originally this was the slur.
Oh damn! Sanguine beat me. Why? 12 grand? Why? Who's dropping 12 grand at Lowe's for a refrigerator?
So
Yeah.
the actual villain from Uncle Tom's Cabin is Sambo, and there's another one as well, Quimbo.
Okay, see, I've heard the first one uses a slur.
I
Yep.
have heard Sambo.
yeah, yeah.
Sambo is supposed to be the slur. Sambo was always the one who was the villain. Sambo's the one who snitches and sells people out and does everything for his own benefit.
Man, I remember that episode of the Boondocks. That was Catcher Freeman.
Mm-hmm. And then there's Uncle Tom, who in Uncle Tom's Cabin, Uncle Tom refuses to sell out the person that he's helping, refuses to do anything, and gets tortured to death while refusing to sell the person out.
All right.
So the fact that they use Uncle Tom as the insult, you're a goddamn idiot.
Yeah.
You aren't even You're picking the hero and calling them the. Read the fucking book, you cretin. Yeah, he sacrificed himself, choosing, and he knowingly did so in order to save others. That's who Uncle Tom from Uncle Tom's Cabin is. And they use Uncle Tom as the insult.
Well, obviously, Sanguine, they haven't read the story either. I didn't.
They haven't.
know.
Yeah, they haven't. But the thing is that you aren't running around calling everyone an Uncle Tom.
No.
They are.
I barely take the time to learn your actual name. I'm not going to call you something else, especially a slur.
Yeah. And the thing is that it should... Yeah, they didn't even read the cliff notes for the fucking book. The thing is that if they actually knew what the fuck they were talking about, there's another character. Like I said, Sambo. They would call people Sambo. There's another one that is with Sambo, Quimbo. Those would be the two that you would use as the insults. Not the fucking hero. This is one of the things that drives me crazy. Insults are bad enough. Insults don't really piss me off all that much. It just kind of depresses me because really that's what you're lowering yourself to. But when you're stupid in your fucking insults, when you try to insult someone, but you don't even know what the fuck you're referencing to the point where you call them the hero of the work as if it's a pejorative, fuck you, you worthless piece of shit. The best part of you dribbled down your mother's thigh. You are an amazing example of a lost opportunity to have an abortion.
Travis sent me another one. This is a Oklahoma story. Swadley's Foggy Bottom Kitchen sometimes charge extra fees as part of a costly restaurant overhaul at state parks. Now, I've seen like some Oklahoman articles about this, but I did not know the full extent of it because it kind of seemed like a snooze to me.
Welcome, Travis.
Oh,
Hey, Travis.
hey. Well, I'll let Travis read it if he wants.
No, I have a bad stutter.
Hmm.
You have a much more natural voice than I do. I just wanted to step in because it really the Electrolux, the expensive ass refrigerators. I wanted to show you. This is the ice maker. This is the one that's being recalled. What does it look like to you?
It looks like me when I was a kid.
Okay.
It looks like just an ice cube tray on a stick that spins it.
That
Yeah.
is exactly what it is.
Yeah,
This
I-
is...
As a kid, I was the one that had to crack the ice.
Yep.
There was no ice maker. I was it.
They twist, and it rolls over, twist, and then it will trigger, then fill, and then it just sits there and it gets cold. That's all this is. This is what's being recalled, and I just wanted to show you how fucking
That looks
stupid.
so poorly put together.
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, it's all.
Yeah, what kind of Chinese labor camp was that even made
This one,
in?
okay. This is. I don't. It doesn't even tell me where it came from.
Oh, because that's a mark of quality right there.
Oh yeah, that
Unknown
definitely
origin of
comes
production.
from the hands of some poor reader.
This is probably made by a 5-year-old. What do you expect of the 5-year-old Chinese kids?
About the same I expect from those Chuck Taylors I bought. Not much.
Yeah.
No, I've met 5-year-old Chinese kids. I expect at least like 8th grade, at least current 8th grader intellect from a 5-year-old Chinese kid.
Are we grading on a curve, Sanguine? Because I've met our current 8th graders, and I'm not all that impressed.
That's why I'm using them as my example.
Some of them are made actually in America.
I wanted to show y'all this. That's why
Some
I
of the
barged
Chinese
myself
kids,
in,
yeah.
so.
Chinese people can move to America, you racist.
Well, I've never heard of any Chinese labor camps in America, so
You don't know the history of the railroads, do you, Johnny?
well, my hometown did have a lake that had a section called Chinaman's Gulch. So yeah, we kind of do.
Well, since Travis is here and he gave us this story, I'll go ahead and start reading it. Travis, if you got anything you want to say about this, just tell me to shut up and speak your piece, okay?
Okay.
Swadley's Foggy Bottom Kitchen spared no expense when it launched an ambitious plan to remodel restaurants at Oklahoma State Parks in 2020. The Oklahoma City-based restaurant company billed the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department $12,433 for a vintage 1956 camper to display at the Sequoia State Park restaurant near Holbert. Another $119,440 went to build an elaborate fake mine shaft and cover other construction costs at Robbers Cave State Park near Wilburton. I haven't even started smoking yet and I've got cotton mouth. Excuse me.
A fake mine shaft?
Yeah, there's a lot of mining in eastern Oklahoma back in the day.
I get that, but why do you need a fake one? There was a lot of mining.
They probably didn't want their diners going into an actual mine shaft.
You know, quite honestly, I think I could throw together a fake mine shaft for at least 10% of that.
Foggy Bottom also charged the tourism department $48,000 to paint murals and build a faux cave entryway at the Robbers Caves restaurant and raised a 12-foot tall illuminated sign bearing the Swadley's name. The restaurant company commissioned features like a waterfall and a lazy river at some of the restaurants. Decorative upside-down canoes hung from the dining room rafters. Costs for the Foggy Bottom restaurants soon ballooned to $16.7 million as the state paid for the company management fees, covered its financial losses, and reimbursed for construction expenses and kitchen equipment, according to a report from the Oklahoma Legislative Office of Fiscal Transparency. Foggy Bottom also charged extra fees on top of some expenses it billed to the state, according to invoices the tourism department provided to the Frontier. The Frontier found $546,890 in additional management and consulting fees that Swadley's Foggy Bottom charged the tourism department on invoices for equipment and renovation costs between May and August of 2021. Those fees were in addition to monthly restaurant management fees outlined in the Swadley's Foggy Bottom Kitchen contract with the tourism department. The contract authorized the company to oversee restaurant renovations, purchase equipment, and hire subcontractors at the state's expense, but make no mention of these additional fees. Beginning in mid... Oh, sorry.
Oh, it one of the things is about this whole thing is they set it up where the state would be fully liable for any losses, but Swadley's, the company that did all this, would get the vast majority of the profit if they do profit.
And
Nice.
it
That's
sounds
a
like they weren't
sweetheart
planning.
deal.
Yeah, that is a sweetheart deal. Sounds like they weren't planning on making a profit either, based off of this so far. I do recall there was one article I saw, like, this company is countersuing the state. They're blaming it all on, like, one dude, or I think. I wonder if this article is going to mention it further on. Let's see. Yeah, we already... Yeah. Beginning in mid-2021, many invoices showed that Foggy Bottom charged the tourism department consulting and management fees ranging from 5 to 20% on top of some construction and equipment expenses. I'm in the wrong business, guys. I need to get into consulting and management.
Mm-hmm.
On some invoices, the restaurant company billed the state for both a management and a consulting fee for up to a 30% markup. Foggy Bottom Restaurant's owner, Brent Swadley, declined to answer written questions from the Frontier about fees and other expenses the company billed to the tourism department. Swadley directed all questions to his attorney, who did not return a phone call to his office on Thursday. On Wednesday, Swadley told the news outlet Non-Doc, "That's just standard stuff. We charge for our services." David White, a spokesman for the tourism department, said the agency couldn't answer the Frontier's questions about Foggy Bottom's billing practices or the terms of the company's contract with the state because of ongoing internal and external investigations. The tourism department has invested in updating the state park system over the past 2 years after decades of deferred maintenance due to underfunding, White said in an email. "We respect the legislature's important agency oversight role and look forward to working together to continue improving the state park system," he wrote. Some of the invoices from Foggy Bottom submitted to the state also didn't include detailed product descriptions or model numbers for kitchen equipment the company purchased for restaurants. For invoices that did include more detailed information, the Frontier was able to find some items priced for significantly less. In August 2021, Foggy Bottom billed the tourism department for 2 barbecue smoker pits from the Oklahoma City-based company Quality Food Equipment, priced at $51,346 each. The Frontier found the same model of smoker at another restaurant supply company, priced at... Okay, Price is Right rules, gentlemen. Travis, you're excluded because you gave us the story. Johnny, Sanguine, chat, without going over, enter in your answers now. How much do you think these smokers cost at this other restaurant supply company?
What was the price that they got it for again?
The original price that the tourism department was billed was $51,346 each. So I'm going to go ahead and just get me a drink here. I do a little of the Jeopardy music,
And this is at a restaurant supply. I'll say 700.
Okay, we got Sanguine in with 700. Johnny, what do you think these smokers went for?
I'll say significantly less. I'll at least say 120K.
$120?
120,000.
Okay, that would be significantly more. That'd be double what the state got.
Well, I'm talking less than his guess.
Wait. My guess was $700.
Yeah.
Oh, $700. Okay, never mind.
How long's it been since you watched Price is Right, Johnny? Shit.
Well, no, I thought which way are we going here? Like,
how do you think numbers work, Johnny?
Johnny
they're
Hellcat
billing...
works about the same way as the tourism department.
So they're billing...
Okay, the tourism department was billed $51,000 for these smokers.
Okay, so we're going the opposite direction. Okay.
So you have to guess a lower amount without going over the actual amount.
Okay.
And Cannibalistic is going. He's going the highest so far. He says $3,995. Now to recap,
I will say
the tourism department, the Oklahoma tourism department, was charged $51,346.
I'll go 300.
$300 from Johnny. Let's see, anybody else in chat want to throw some numbers out there? No? Well, Cannibalistic is the closest. Because you guys really undersold this.
Oh yeah, I was expecting them to get absolutely gutted by the.
The Frontier found the same model of smoker at another restaurant supply company, priced at $29,570.
Oh, so it was only twice as expensive.
Well, there's another bit of interesting news to that. It was reported on KOKC, the news talk station out of Oklahoma City.
Is that Channel 8?
No,
that's KTOL.
Yeah, it's a 1520 on the radio.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm old.
Hey,
But,
man, I listen to the radio too.
The Foggy Bottom restaurant purchased the smokers despite not having one article of smoked foods on the proposed menu.
That's glorious.
Well, see, it gets even better because the Frontier also reached out to Missouri-based manufacturer of these smokers, right? Old Hickory Pits. A representative said the same model of smoker cost them $22,700, ordered directly from the manufacturer plus shipping cost. Quality Food Equipment owner Mike McWhorter declined to comment. That's the guy that sold these extremely overpriced smokers. Foggy Bottom Kitchen billed the Department of Tourism $107,442 for the two smokers and other related equipment and installation, plus a 15% management fee of $16,116. That's with no smoked food items on the menu, folks.
Oh, and the owner of all of this, Brett Swaldley, our governor said, I don't know him. I do not have any relationship with him at all. So he threw him under the bus, and Swaldley was actually on TV in tears about why the governor was doing this to him and showing pictures of him and the governor at various events.
Well, he's a politician and therefore a professional liar, and you're a douchebag who's making him look bad. You do the math. Was it Brett?
Yeah.
Brent? Whatever?
Brett. And like one of the things that they did was there was a cheese grater. A mechanical cheese grater that Swaldley's sent to be reconditioned and then sold to the state for twice the cost of a new one.
It sounds like NASA with the $700 hammers and the $1,000 toilet seats.
Or the $1 million pen.
Oh, I mean, hey, man, that thing worked in 0G. Like, that one actually worked out.
I love these things. These are great, by the way.
I was thinking it sounds a hell of a lot like any sort of mob contract.
Well, and it goes even deeper
Except
with
mob
the
contracts don't make you cry for that reason.
The Department of Tourism.
I know. Have you looked into mob construction deals?
No, I like my kneecaps, Sanguine.
Hey, you can look at the historical ones that are already known, and you don't have to worry about your own kneecaps. It was some poor schmuck who won that hard-earned knowledge with theirs.
The tourism department stopped paying Foggy Bottom's invoices after August 2021 is now conducting an internal audit of items the restaurant company billed to the agency. They finally got wise. Tourism officials told a legislative oversight committee in March that teams are visiting each Foggy Bottom restaurant to audit all equipment the company purchased. Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell, who acts as a state secretary of tourism, declined to comment through a spokesperson. I didn't know that the lieutenant governor was wearing two hats.
They don't normally.
Lawmakers have questioned some of the Foggy Bottom project costs, and a criminal investigation is also now underway. At the oversight hearing, Representative Ryan Martinez, Republican of Edmond, asked how Foggy Bottom selected subcontractors and vendors and whether the tourism department verified costs before it paid invoices. He also questioned the terms of the restaurant company's contract with the tourism department. The agency agreed to cover $2.1 million of the Foggy Bottom's financial losses for the 2021 fiscal year. That is a pretty sweetheart deal. If I can operate a business and be guaranteed that my losses would be covered, that's pretty tempting, Martinez said.
Mm-hmm.
Other lawmakers asked how such a contract ever got signed. Jerry Winchester, executive director of the tourism department, told lawmakers at the hearing that he approved the Foggy Bottom contract and that he and agency staff reviewed the scope of renovations at state park restaurants. So it's his fault. Okay.
The dumbest fuck in Oklahoma.
Pretty low bar, Travis. The Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Commission once had the authority to approve contracts, but legislation by Representative Mark LePac, Republican of Claremore, sponsored in 2018, stripped the board's powers. So it's his fault. I'm just going to start pointing fingers at all these people. LePac sponsored the legislation as part of an effort to take decision-making authority away from disparate state boards and consolidate power under agency leaders appointed by the governor. Then Governor Mary Fallon signed the bill near the end of her second term. So it's her fault.
Her fault.
Yes.
I see how this is working.
Exactly. It's all their fucking fault. Senator Julia Kurt, Democrat from Oklahoma City, believes the shift in power has led to less transparency and oversight of government spending. Really? You don't say.
You know, this is something on the scale of, I would not be surprised if somebody didn't pull a Bud Dwyer on TV.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Filter could use a new song. Let's be honest.
And do you want to fill everyone in on what you're referring to, on the off chance someone doesn't?
Okay.
I mean, there are some young folks who may not know the story of Bud Dwyer or of well, shit. What was Robert Patrick's brother's name again? Richard. The guy that was in Filter.
I don't know him.
Not sure.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Well, the Robert Patrick, the Terminator. You know, his brother, if I'm not mistaken, is the lead singer of Filter. And they had a song called Hey Man, Nice Shot, which still a banger to this day. Based off of the story of Bud Dwyer, who, if I'm not mistaken, Dankula did a Mad Lads on him.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
And he'll go into way more detail about it. But Bud was a comptroller? Richard. Yes. I think he was a comptroller in Pennsylvania. He made his way from representative up. He had control over some purse strings, and he cut some contracts with folks and took some kickbacks. And when the shit finally hit the fan and it all came out, old Bud decided the best way to get himself out of this particular pickle was to stick a 44 in his mouth and say goodbye to everyone on live TV.
Yeah, live on air.
To a press conference that he called.
Yeah.
There's two things about that. Number one, I've read over this story, and I'm not convinced that he was really guilty of anything other than being a patsy to other people. Or at least making a big oversight. I don't think he really did anything warranted what happened to him. And the other thing is, the reason why he did it is because if he was forced out of office, he would lose his pension. But if he died while in office, his wife would get his pension for the rest of her life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but don't they usually make an exception for killing yourself? I mean, like insurance doesn't pay out for that.
So, if it was an insurance policy, it would have. But this was a pension plan. And pension often pays out to survivors in the case of suicides.
And I think...
also with the suicide thing, that is also, and this is with some, not all, if you don't kill yourself for 2 years, then if you commit suicide after that, you can get that money for your family.
So if I get an insurance policy with the right company, as long as I don't off myself for 2 years, they'll pay out. Okay.
You just need to plan it out ahead of time.
Yeah, I wouldn't even consider. There's a lot of people I want to see go before me.
Oh yeah, that
Sounds like Travis is talking about going out in a blaze of glory, folks.
Yeah, no.
Kill those are
Kill
3.0.
Mute. No, what I mean is that I'm sometimes, sometimes you just have to get meaning out of life, and sometimes that meaning is just spite.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir, my man.
One of those things that I've never thought of suicide. I never will think of suicide. Homicide is an entirely different matter. Never thought of suicide.
Well, the rest of this article is a lot of quotation from politicians. It looks like a lot from this Julia Kurt. I think we've got the gist of it. It just sounds like a shady deal all the way around. And I'm glad that they're actually looking into it. And I hope some heads roll from that.
I kind of hope we get some of our money back on it, because,
I'm not going to hold my breath on that one.
At least get somebody in prison.
How about this? How about we just throw them down that fake mine shaft in Robbers Cave? Wonder how deep that thing actually went.
I'm gonna jump down here and see how it is.
No, I'm thinking like shirt collar and belt, belt loops. Just heave ho.
I did. On the subject of Robbers Cave, have you ever heard of the Robbers Cave experiment?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I only heard about it recently, but I have heard about it.
It was plainly difficult. One of the YouTubers, he did a good video on it. And I was like, wow, I just never thought. It just kind of it surprises me when I find stuff like that about parts of the state.
And for those of you in chat that don't know, Robbers Cave is a state park here in eastern Oklahoma, southeastern Oklahoma. It is on Choctaw land, but the reason why it's called Robbers Cave is because back when it was really Indian country, back in the 1800s and whatnot, you had a lot of people, robbers, hence the name, that would hang out in that particular area because it was, it's the Old West. It was lawless. And so you had people like Belle Starr is one of the big ones that they like to trot out. Would hang out in this area to hide from the law. And I don't remember the exact year, Travis, but the Robbers Cave experiment took place in the 50s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I want to say
late 50s.
Yeah, I think so.
And
late 50s, early 60s, somewhere in there. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's still in the 50s, or maybe that was when around the time. Anyway, it was a Turkish-born professor. Was he a sociologist? I think him and his wife were both sociologists, and his American-born wife. They did this experiment a couple of times.
Yep.
Where they would take a small group of young boys, like 12, 13 years old. They took them out to the park, split them up into two different groups, and pretty much tried to make Lord of the Flies to see how these group dynamics would play out. Is that about the gist of it, Travis, or do you want to get a little more
Yeah,
in depth?
that's pretty much it. Is that they try to influence.
In group, out group preferences.
Yes, and it would be considered unethical to do today. It was back in those days of psychology when you can actually do
It was
fun
before
experiments.
the ERBs.
Well,
For those who don't know, ERBs, ethics review boards.
yeah, they lied to the parents of the boys involved about what they were doing. I don't remember exactly. Like they paid the parents. I don't remember how much.
So it's the Stanford prison experiment, only in the Wild West.
So, but
Not quite Stanford prison experiment levels, but it was really just trying. Like I said, they were trying to see the in-group, out-group dynamics. Because they had the one experiment that I remember. They had the two groups. These two groups, they came up with names for their group. They even had like intramural kind of, well, not intramural, but like they had like sporting activities, making the two groups compete against each other, which had led to like raids on their different campgrounds. And then after like a couple of weeks, they brought the two groups together to see if like the in group out group dynamics changed. But I mean, on the whole, yeah, it was unethical.
That was the later experiment, which, in my opinion, the later experiment was the most ethical of all their versions of it. Because their later experiment was not only redoing some of the bits from their early experiments, but then also going, okay, well, can we reverse what we've just done to these children?
Well, the thing of it was like the first group, they had to redo it because the first group of kids kind of saw through the facade.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had to go back and redo it. And the second group that they brought in to do the experiment with, that's the one that went Lord of the Flies with the rating of the camps and whatnot. And it's not, when I say Lord of the Flies, it wasn't that bad. It was like stealing one kid's clothing and stealing a flag.
Yeah, stealing the flag.
There was no actual like interpersonal violence or anything that took place.
Oh no, there were a couple fights in that one.
Well, I mean, nobody brained Piggy because he didn't have the conch. Okay.
Yeah, no one died from it, but there were a number of fights, and like I said, they did and we divide these people, and they took them from all over the place. And it was like no two from the same school, I think was the policy.
Yeah, so they were scouring like Tulsa and Oklahoma City and stuff like that. And they had a specific like demographic in mind with these boys. They wanted them to be a certain age. They wanted to be I think they were all little white boys too. Like they didn't want to they wanted to be as controlled as possible with the in-group, out-group. So, they're all racially homogenous. They're all the same age, similar, I guess, socioeconomic backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference that they wanted was you're in Group A and you're in Group B.
Uh-huh. And that one, like I said, was the most valid of their tries, because that was the one that they also then went through the process of, okay, now that we've made these groups hate each other, can we get rid of this? Can we bring them back together? And they did so rather successfully, which was the bright side of the Robber's Cave.
Yeah, I find it quite interesting. Things like that interest me. I've always wondered what causes people to have in-group, out-group bigotry and everything else. It always interests me because, especially right now, on my Facebook I have a lot of left-leaning women for some reason, Robin. and they're all like talking about having their Anne Frank moments, and I know who would be the person that would be the Nazis, and like, no, you don't. Okay? Because in my theory, given the right circumstances, we're all capable of doing Nazi-ish things.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the duality of man.
And
We're all capable of great good and great evil.
Yeah, when you look at the population, it breaks down into, there's a certain chunk of the population that it does not matter what situation you put them in, how they were raised, everything like that. You cannot turn those people into Nazis. Just a very, very small percent that are that way. Then there's another percent that it does not matter what situation you put them in or anything like that. They will never be anything but totalitarian, vicious bastards. And then you have the vast majority of people that it massively depends. If you put them in one environment, they're good, honest, upright people. If you put them in another environment, they're vicious bastards.
That reminds me of a show I was talking with Dax Orion about called The Man in the High Castle. It's based on a Philip K. Dick story. If you have, I think it's Amazon Prime Video, I recommend it. It's pretty good. It's got Rufus Sewell. It's got Shang Tsung from the Mortal Kombat movies.
Mm-hmm.
I only say that because I tried saying his name once before, and both Sanguine and Johnny gave me shit for it.
Yep. As well, we should have.
It's got Joel De La Fuente in it. I can say his name no problem because I took 3 years of Spanish. Thank you. But yeah, a lot of good actors and stuff in it.
You want to try it again?
No, I know his first name's Carrie. That's good enough for me. Damn good actor.
Yeah.
High Castle has gone hyper woke. I didn't know they were still going. I thought it only lasted like a couple of seasons. But they did have that one aspect about the different situation, same person, different outcomes, with like one of the main characters, John Smith. In one reality, in one dimension, he is a Nazi, Obergruppenführer, however they, whatever that title is. He's a big wig in the American Nazi Party. In our timeline, our reality, he's like a insurance salesman going door to door. And the difference was like he didn't stay in the military after the war. In one reality, like the war's over, he leaves the military. He has a chance to take a high power position, I think like at his father's company or whatever. He decides to go his own way. And the other one, he plays the cards he's dealt. He gets as high in the Nazi command as he can. And the difference between the two personalities is striking.
There's one unit that I'm trying to remember the name of. It was a auxiliary unit from Eastern Europe that is pretty much the main example that people use for, no, it is fucking everyone can become this way. Because the unit was a bunch of volunteer policemen.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember it either.
And they were, by all accounts, good, moral, upstanding people. The war happened. They got activated. They all ended up in the same unit. They fought against the Nazis at first. The country fell, was taken over by the Nazis. They got activated. They all fought together. And then for the first bit, they weren't being commanded to do anything really fucked up. It was just, you're going to go kill the Soviets. So they went and killed some Soviets. And then it started to be, okay, you're going to take part in the culling of this group. You're going to kill these people that surrender, for instance. And it started off with a fair chunk of the group saying no. They were told that these people will be killed. You have the choice. You can kill them, and you get to continue, or you're put down as having disobeyed a direct order. What's it going to be? And a bunch of the people, or a small group of the people, enthusiastically went, yep, we'll kill him. As they kept on getting more and more of these fucked up orders, it started to be that a few more people, and then a few more people, and then a few more people would take part. And it came down to a lot of them were looking at it as, if we just pawn this off on the other people in the unit, then we're completely staining someone in all the blood. Yes, the Reserve Policia Battalion 101. That's the one that I was thinking. And as it went on, more and more of them were willing to do it so that they could spread the dishonor almost, so that they could protect all of them from being marked by the totality of everything that they did, because none of them did it all, but a lot of them did fucking most of it. And there's a small group that throughout the entire war just kept on going, no, not going to do it, not going to do it, not going to do it. And there are other people went, okay, you aren't going to do it, we'll do it for you.
Eisengruppen is what I was trying to think of.
Oh, the Einsatzgruppen? That's
yeah.
an entirely different group. Those were the vicious bastards from the SS.
Well, you also have... didn't you go to, like, the Delaware Brigade, which was so bad even the SS was like, dude, chill.
Oh, you're talking about the... I can't remember. It's someone's Jaegers, and I can't remember...
Well, while you guys are thinking about that, I just want to address Assassin in chat real fast. He said, O is a letter. It's like, yes, but half of the panel is from Oklahoma, where it is both a letter and a number, and this is not the Army, sir. It works. It works for both.
Thank you for reminding me of my my flight instructor. So... I need to go through all of the things I've failed at in my life someday. It'd be fun. But, yeah, the Delaware Brigade was basically, they took the worst convicts out of German prisons, and they put them with this pedophile leader to go and basically just terrorize.
And yeah, it was Devranga's Jaegers. That was the unit. That was the right. You remembered the name. I forgot that was the name, and it was the Jaegers was tapped on because it was that guy's hunters.
Yeah, because they started off being poachers. They wanted poachers to get.
Yep.
But there's only so many poachers out there, so they just started adding in their rapists and burglars and things like that. But it just, their brutality was so shocking that even upper SS members tried to bring up their commander on charges.
Yep.
So, completely off topic, but did you guys know that Medicare got swatted tonight?
I didn't know.
Shit.
Yeah. He was doing his monthly wrap-up stream, and there's a good, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe 15, where he was away from the mic, and he posted the video on or his buddy, his friend, posted video you got a cop with a shield and another guy, walking up with a rifle. I guess they, I don't know, knocked on the door, rang the doorbell, and you see them just backing away down the driveway, taking a little cover by a tree, waiting for him to come out. So,
see, that's my biggest problem is that I've used my real name and everybody knows where I'm at now, so I'm kind of fucked.
See, the thing that I find slightly outrageous is that they just got that weatherman, but they allowed the other weatherman to go on for as long as they did. That's kind of fucked.
well, I mean, now the question is, like, who sent him?
Yeah.
I think the big one, the big, I don't know.
Theory?
Well, I was gonna say, like, the biggest potential culprit probably be Ralph.
Yep.
But then again, like, he's with Nick Fuentes and that group now, so it could have been one of them. And you're right, Assassin. Swatting should be charged as attempted murder. That is the goal of the call.
It is.
Yep.
It is the worst. I see. This is why I let everybody talk for me, because I have no words. I don't even really like Medicare, but don't do this shit.
I mean, I like him. I think he's funny. I miss the videos. I'm not gonna lie. I miss, like, the internet insanity and whatnot.
I
both like him and think he's an asshole. Those are not mutually exclusive beliefs for me.
I would not be able to disagree with you there, sir.
I would really like Monkey to do some more videos, because I'd like to share them with people. Like, hey, you need to watch this guy, but you can't just send an entire stream to somebody. It's like, hey, here's 2 hours of video for you to watch. You might enjoy it, because they won't.
You can clip the videos, though.
I sent his video of Ta-Nehisi Coates talking about how you can't say the word because you're not part of the culture. And then he's talking about, calling people bitches and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had mentioned...
I call people bitches because I don't know their name individually.
Well, I had mentioned, I'm like, yeah, this video kind of sums up, a bit of, what I'm trying to explain. And he goes, I'm not listening to that. And I go, why? And he goes, well, it's from this ranting monkey. And I go, you're hung up on the name Monkey, aren't you? And he goes, that's not entirely it. And I go, what's the other reason? He goes, it's not peer reviewed. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Okay. Oh,
is this the debate coach? Because I still want to meet this guy. I want to meet this guy.
It is the debate coach.
We need to get him on a stream. I want to talk to this fucker.
No.
He's like, I'm not telling him my
coach?
internet name. Are you kidding me?
No. I would not put it past, if not him, then someone he knows to get my livelihood in jeopardy. So
just send him my email and tell him that I want to talk to him. Like, I know this guy on the internet. He was in the debate thing too back in the day. He would love to sit down and have a chat with you, sir. I'll fire up a stream. I don't care if I lose my channel. I'm willing to bet you I can make him cry.
That is. How many people are any of you actually worried that something you say is going to get back to an employer?
I literally had Dax reading Bigfoot porn on my channel earlier this week, Travis. I don't care at this point.
I've said a good chunk of what I say here to people that I work with, so if it was going to get back and they were going to freak out about it, it probably would have gotten back.
I've actually said worse at work than I've said here, and that was to the boss and the owner, and I just want, part of me kind of wants, like, hey, somebody called about a tweet that you sent out. It was actually kind of funny, so,
Oh, like as soon as I joined Twitter, I got into my settings and I made sure it's like, no, you cannot find my Twitter account based off of my phone number. I don't want my contacts being able to connect with me on Twitter. Like Twitter is for randos. All right. If you're in my contacts list, it means I actually might care about hurting your feelings or not. So I don't want you following me on Twitter.
Apparently, we don't matter to Camel.
And the problem is, I've started doing I set up my channel and I set up my Twitter before I even thought about like going on to streams and talking to real people because I didn't think about it. It was like, who the fuck wants to talk to me? But then I'm like, oh, I should have used a pseudonym.
Yeah, it's not that I have any, it's not like I'm scared to voice my, everything I've said on any stream that I've been on, it's either been joking, comedic effect, over the top, which is how I am IRL anyway, or it's been something that I truly believe and have said repeatedly in real life. So I'm not concerned about somebody, finding one of these streams or a tweet or something like, well, what have we here? It's like, yeah, I said that 5 years ago, still holds up. What the fuck you want about?
I mean, I do watch some of the things I say on here because I don't want something I say to come back on the channel. So
I mean, like on the Minions streams, I try to avoid controversial stuff. Like I don't want to talk about the coup or certain words.
And sorry.
It's usually stuff that I'm not super interested in talking about anyway, And if it is something I might be interested in, there are people on the Minions that are way better at talking about it than me, like Sanguine or Prospero or Skep or Harry, So I'd much rather listen to them talk about those kind of things than I would, spew my opinion about it.
I really want to get on a stream with Prospero or Harry because they both sound pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, and if you host them on a stream, you got to make sure your stuff is pretty well tight. Because Johnny and I had Skep and Prospero on a stream one time, and I think she wanted to reach through the microphone and choke the both of us.
She wanted to choke you. You're the one that scheduled it at the last minute. I was just the way to get it done.
It was not at the last minute. I was trying to be accommodating to their schedules. Thank you.
He had a full 5 minutes before the show.
I did get to really talk to Drunkle, a very, very, very drunk Drunkle.
Yeah,
we were all there for it.
Yeah.
Well, I know you were all there for it. I'm just still happy because he's like one of my favorite people on here.
Oh yeah, he's great.
And apparently you're one of his favorites as well.
Well, if you give as much to his Patreon as I do, then you would be probably one of his favorites too.
You've bought him more than a few pints at this point, Travis.
I've probably bought that man a hooker.
You've probably bought him Class A narcotics.
You probably bought him stuff to get through our stream.
I think he was actually sober for that, which is... I feel really bad for that one, too. Like, he sat through that London Hughes thing. He sounded sober to me, Johnny.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a Sunday night. He had to work the next day. I don't think he hit the pub before he came and hung out with us. I feel bad. It's like, yeah, you're probably gonna need, a few shots and a couple pints at least.
Yeah, I only like talking to drunk people if I am drunk.
Well, I don't normally like talking to drunk people, but Drunkle is that's him. He's part of the charm. Yeah. Just average drunk people. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk to people in bars. If I'm in a bar, I don't want to talk.
Chunk.
Oh yeah, Chunk. Chunk had her. It's Chunk and then there's Tripod.
Wow.
Actually, that's Delilah and Junie, but the Tripod she fell when she was a kitten and had to have a leg amputated.
That's rough.
And it was like $1,500 right out of adoption.
Mm.
And Chonk got to go to her cardiologist.
For a split second there, I was really worried where you were going to go with that. You just finished off with one cat getting its leg amputated, and I was really worried. And then Chonk, well, Chonk just ate it.
Well, Chonk, the weird thing is the fat one isn't the one that's driven by food. The other one is. The other one will beg for food all the time. Chonk doesn't give a shit. I try to give her treats. She doesn't care. I've tried to give her wet food, and she just kind of sniffs at it, and then will maybe eat a little bit of it.
Yeah.
The little one will gobble anything you drop on the floor. She fucking loves Cheez-Its.
Well, I mean, who doesn't love Cheez-Its, man?
Well, have you ever seen a snaggletooth, three-legged cat eat a Cheez-It? It's fucking hilarious.
Cheez-Its are like goldfish for adults. They're great.
Yeah, I have that. I think there was a video that I posted, and there's a couple people that liked it, but we have a toothless cat that grooms herself regularly. And I don't know why, but whenever she goes for a swipe of the tongue, and her tongue catches her fur, and then just drags to the side of her mouth, it fucking makes me laugh my ass off every time. Just because that's not typically how it's done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's usually tongue in the front, tongue in the front. But whenever she goes tongue, it like drags to the back of her mouth, and I get a kick out of it. Just because she's so miserable with it.
Yeah. You know, Chonk is so fat, she has trouble, like, grooming herself.
So, as a bit of a callback, so this is going straight back to the things that make you chuckle when done to pets that wouldn't if done to children.
Well, you'd probably put me on the list if I'm watching kids lick themselves.
I'm talking more if you're chuckling at how miserable they are.
Well, no.
I don't know. I mean, there's some stuff that if I seen somebody like hose down their dog, and I'd be like, what an asshole. But if I seen somebody spray down their kid, I'd probably think that's hilarious.
So you're okay. Now
It's all about context.
we have a bunch of different stances here because we have the. It's funny if it would be counted as child abuse, but it's done to an animal and it isn't. From Johnny, when he was chasing his cat with various gardening implements. Then we had Camel, who had the exact opposite opinion. And now we have Travis, who's kind of blending the two. He's a synthesis of it.
Well, it really depends. Like Johnny said, it really depends on context. Because if you pull a practice, if you like scare a child, it's funny depending on what you're scaring them with. If you're scaring them with a clown costume, that's funny. If you're scaring them with a gun, probably not.
What if you scare them with the existential dread of dying alone?
Well, then you get.
How did you meet my mother, Sanguine?
That sounds like my mom. That sounds like everybody's mom.
My mom was fantastic. My dad was the ass.
Sorry, I had to step away there for a second. A lot of water, a little bit of booze. So
Both my parents are assholes. But we are getting to that time. We're already at 2 and some. You go with parting thoughts. Are you ready, Camel, or are you wanting to come back to you?
I mean, I'll go with the one I've been going with here lately. I'm tired of following my dreams. I'm just gonna ask where they're going and hook up with them later.
All right. Travis?
A man who procrastinates in choosing. Sorry, a man who procrastinates in his choosing will inevitably have his choice made for him by circumstance. And it's Hunter S. Thompson.
Sanguine?
I'll leave off with my standard. If you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you. And now I sound like a vain bastard because the other two went with quotes. And I went with the thing that originates from me.
I just sound lazy because I'm ripping off Mitch Hedberg.
I'm not as clever as everybody else when it comes to funny things. So I mean,
I'm pulling mine off the internet, so I don't know what you're talking about.
It was a toss up between Will Rogers and Mitch Hedberg. So I mean,
well, you know, there's kind of a weird. You know, I think they would have got along.
maybe. I mean, Mitch was a little busy riding the horse, and Will was just trying to rope it. So
Yeah, but they, you know, for some reason, I think that their comedic styles are kind of alike. I don't know. It sounds weird to me.
I don't think Travis got that heroin reference just now.
Well, no, I know exactly the heroin reference. Riding the horse. But yeah, I'm talking about just like the understated comedy that they had. I don't know. I'm talking on my ass right now.
But I will go with, you can be watching the greatest film in the world, and you hear you're never getting into a fight, and you're at the window. It's a Ricky Gervais quote. But with that, the zoo is closed. Have a good night, all.
Have a good night, all.
Bye, everybody.
Wow, look at this.